All right, is everybody ready to get started?
Mine is next year. Can't wait.
I need a gavel. I'm just kidding. Good morning. Thank you, everybody, for being out or coming out here today. I think we all know the intent. The city purchased a piece of property as you enter into the city. Probably one of the biggest purchases in the history of the city. So we would like community input on what we want to see there. How do we develop it? Do we want it to be revenue producing, something pretty? And that's where we're at. You want to introduce? We'll do introductions.
John Warlight, currently the acting city fire chief right now, formerly deputy fire chief for the city fire.
Marcy Forbes, Community Development Director.
Clint Belk, acting city manager and fire chief.
Megan Wepfer, Public Works Director.
Brian Crabtree, Marina Manager.
So you have the boards up here, and if you take your Post-it notes, write down your idea, before you leave, put it up there, and we'll be able to keep a tally of everything. But what I'm envisioning is just going from table to table to table and letting everyone speak on whatever what their vision is for this property. So can we start here at this table right here?
Actually, I'm here to just listen.
Okay.
I don't have ideas, but I definitely
Okay. And that's the Kimley Horn team back there, correct? Yes. Let me see. Oh.
Is this something?
If they don't talk into the microphone, it won't get onto the recording.
Yeah.
Hello.
There we go. We got the squawk box.
There you go. I actually do not have any, I have lots of ideas, but I'm here to just listen today. But
Okay.
I appreciate that.
We are also here to listen.
Perfect.
Or not, just bring it around.
So a couple of ideas that have been, we've talked about internally with the city is like expansion of the marina, wet slips, maybe even Airbnb apartments that are attached to the wet slips for that we can rent and lease out, especially King of the Beach or what have you. The one that I liked the most was a walkway from the property under the bridge around to Patriot Park. And with that walkway, you can almost get all the way to the beach without having to crossing one major roadway. But again, these are just ideas. Turn it over to the next table.
All right, I guess I'll be the first. Good morning. Thanks for the opportunity. I think it's a great purchase. I'm in favor of it. And I think it has a lot of potential. And it's very exciting. By the way, my name is Carlos Colon. I'm in First Street East. I have been thinking about this, and one of the ideas that I would like for you to consider is the Coachman Park model from Clearwater, the city of Clearwater. I think it's a great opportunity to have a family-friendly, open airspace with green space and park benches and enough space to have certain activities like, art festivals and food truck festivals and things like that. Coachman Park has the Market Marie, and they have concerts, and they have all types of activities. I think an open space like that that's waterfront will attract families, but will not detract from the businesses already in place, like especially from Johns Pass. We want to be able to complement Johns Pass businesses, not take away from their business. The other thing that we have that Coachman Park does not have is access to the beach or close proximity to the beach. So with a green open air space, people can spend their time and their whatever activity it is they're doing, especially people that aren't really into the beach. But they can walk through that walkway, which I think is a great idea, to the beach and catch a sunset or spend some time there, and they can have basically the best of both worlds. We can also maybe get a trolley service from the park to Johns Pass.
I was gonna suggest the same
And
thing.
it could be free.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, people can spend an entire day here, and they never have to leave, and everybody can benefit from it. I think the parcel right next to that parcel has just been put up for sale. I don't know how big it is. I don't know the price, but I urge you to consider it as well, because we have to consider parking, obviously. And if it becomes a successful, attractive place, then obviously we're gonna need to have some place to put cars. So that's a possibility as well. I know there are some concerns about the city not being property manager, so to speak. I don't have that concern. I know the city of Clearwater owns Coachman Park. The city of Tampa owns the Riverwalk. And I believe the city of St. Pete owns the pier, and they manage it just fine. I was just at the pier recently for the first time, and I really loved it. So as I said, just to wrap it up, there are a lot of, I don't think we have to reinvent the wheel. I think the commission can certainly look to our neighbors at what they've already created and learn from them, learn from their mistakes, maybe even touch base with those city leaders and find out what their experiences were. But again, just to wrap it up, I'm very excited about it. I applaud it, and that's all I have. Thank you.
I like that. I was actually going to suggest the same thing, and that way it ties the city together with the most visited attractions, which is Johns Pass, and then a ferry or a trolley to get from Johns Pass back to the property. I think I like that idea.
Hi, my name is Chelsea Nelson. I live over on Boca Ciega Drive. I had a question before I got into it. I know that we were talking about Public Works going in this space. I was wondering if perhaps we could get like an outline of what that looked like, where that would be, just before we go further on what we'd like to see there, so we know like how we're integrating that into the future plan as well.
So I'll let Megan speak on that if she needs to. But right now, with the current location of Public Works is going to be torn down, and we're going to rebuild at this current location. Megan, feel free to speak.
Yep, Public Works is not going on the new property.
Okay,
So
it's going to
it's
stay where it is, but
like
get
it-
revamped.
yeah, yes.
Okay, great. I would like to just kind of go off of what the gentleman ahead of me said. I would like to see this area be somewhat like an integrated area, like St. Pete Pier, where it's a destination. People come, there's commercial stuff available, there's recreation available. We have 2 commercial districts in Madeira Beach. We have Johns Pass Village, obviously, but I know we have a planned development area here, right, in our downtown district, and I'd like to see that get some love and affection as well. It'd be great to loop the 2 together through trolleys, through that under bridge walkway. It needs to be more pedestrian friendly. I'd like it also to be golf cart friendly. I know the road right there turns to 40 miles an hour. It'd be a great way to see if we could get like that type of recreation going as well, so that we could have our community reach through golf carts through up and down the beaches. I'd like it to be more family friendly, and I'd like it to be revenue producing for the city. I think that we can have both green space and have it be a moneymaker for Madeira Beach.
Agreed.
I'm gonna have more ideas here in a bit, but
Brian Nelson, Boca Ciega Drive as well. All right, strap in. I got a bunch of different things. And they're all over the place. I honestly have no rhyme or reason. I'm kind of open to, again, like everybody so far, very, very pleased with the purchase. Excited for the opportunities and the potential that the city has, because every other city up and down the beach is dying for property like this right now. And I think that we have this great opportunity. And I'm all over the place with what this could be, and ultimately it's not going to be my decision, but I'm very pleased with a bunch of things. I mean, golf cart access to what Chelsea was saying, it turns to 40 like literally a block before the turn-in. If we could just expand that, that'd be push that over, that'd be great. If we do any type of parking, as the gentleman said earlier, if we could have something to where people move their cars before storms, that's fine if it's not, if it's paid for, you know, the whole year, but, you know, when we have evacuation orders, if we can just get free parking to put our cars up, that'd be.
I like that.
That'd be really helpful, with our passes, and make it tall enough so tall golf carts can fit under them. We usually have to trailer our golf cart somewhere. I know that's kind of first world problems, but it'd be nice. I know that a lot of people have cooler golf carts than we do too, so. I think when it comes to open space and other things that we have, trying to not redo what we have, either here with the concert venue, we have the open space for the parks, or for the, you know, the fishing tournaments, we have the carnivals that come here, so we have that space, and trying to understand, I don't know necessarily that I think we need to have a second space for that. But having some sort of green space is nice, and I know I'm gonna be speaking out of both sides of my mouth here, but even something, I think about the Shell Museum down in Sarasota. Fishing is the lifeblood of this community. Maybe there's like a small little, either a walkthrough or some sort of guided thing, like a fishing museum or something like that that says we do something differently. This is kind of the history of our area. And it doesn't necessarily need to be enclosed, but like to the St. Pete Pier, they have kind of, you know, some of that learning stuff. And having the ability, especially to fish, is, I think, extremely important in that area. And then going completely the other way, right? Water park, right? If there's something, you know, I think that would be cool. You know, I would love it if kids were driving from like St. Pete Beach or from Reddington, and they're like, man, why don't we live in Madeira? My town sucks. Like, that'd be great to make every other town jealous. So that would be cool. And I would love a restaurant, like even if the restaurant was just, you know, one single restaurant that could cater. If you're in the water park, like they have a backside, you can still access the food. But you go to any type of like all-inclusive resort or anything there's usually a restaurant that's there to service. And if we could have, you know, music, kind of the way, I guess, the Snack Shack, and not to bring up other difficult topics that we're talking about, but, you know, even the Snack Shack, you know, would have live music. But if we had, you know, I don't know if anyone's familiar with the place Lulu's up in Destin area. Like, that place is phenomenal. You know, they have live music. They have places for the kids to play at this restaurant. And so it kind of incorporates all of it together. Yeah, I'm sure I'll have more ideas, but a fishing museum, a water park, place to fish. And also, I know there was, down in St. Pete, they have the palm tree garden, you know, some sort of unique aspect that people like. I never thought that I could just walk, you know, 100 feet and see 40 different variations of palm trees. You know, things like that just something that you would be curious and interested to see, be proud of as the city being here. That's it, sorry.
All right, thank you.
The rest of my time.
All right, I'll make mine short because I know there's a lot of people here. I'm Jeff Least. I've been an owner of Madeira Beach for over 40 years. And so I just want to say that one thing that I like to have, like something that's pedestrian friendly, you know, bike friendly, that people can, you know, not have to worry about the traffic, because that's one problem I think we have here. It's just, there's just a lot of traffic. And that's one thing that concerns me too, is having, you know, we have a lot of hotels put up or whatever, it's gonna create more traffic.
Well, anybody that's been here, I guess, maybe longer than 15 years, you'll also remember previously on that property was Lever Rocks. So a restaurant isn't out of the question.
Okay, yeah, and it didn't seem that bad when Lever Rocks was here, to be honest. But that's all I got.
Perfect, thank you.
Hi, my name's Mary Jane. I've, again, been owners here for about 40 years. I'm looking for more kid-friendly stuff. My grandkids come to visit, and I find that I'm driving to everybody else's beach for putt-putt, or just to get out and run somewhere that doesn't have sand. Like a park course, somewhere for kids to burn off some steam. I follow Madeira on Facebook a lot of times, and other beaches on Facebook, and I find that everybody's always asking for, where can I take my 10-year-old on a rainy day? So something besides a video game arcade or something like that, like a place where you can learn about the history of Madeira Beach, they may not seem interested when you take them there, but it might get them interested. And then they go to school and tell their friends. The other idea would be like a water park situation for people who don't necessarily want to go into the beach water, but enjoy the water, more of a, maybe not a public swimming pool, but a place where you can go where it's only 3 feet high and your kids can have a day in the water, which could also bring in revenue. Even if it was just like a lazy river kind of a thing. Get in your raft and float around for a couple hours, go home, have lunch, whatever. That's, again, the walking bridge, I think is fantastic. It's a fantastic idea. Most people around here fly in, get an Uber here, and then don't have a way to get where they got to go unless they're on foot. The restaurant idea, I think it's a wonderful idea. We went to Liver Rocks many times when it was there. I see people on Facebook, where can I go to get a nice steak dinner or seafood dinner or whatever, fresh catch? They always mention another beach. It's always down in Indian Rocks or down in St. Pete. It'd be fantastic for people that come here to get fresh seafood, have a beautiful view of the water, even as a reception wedding revenue place, a place that the city could rent out for those type of things, have a separate banquet room. But there are lots of things that you can do that are family friendly that aren't necessarily about the beach.
Thank you. And it would be nice to have all those in the same area because we do have Smuggler's Cove here for the putt-putt, and then we have a splash pad here for the children. But to your point, it would be nice to have everything in one location.
Okay, I hate to put people down, but we have places for kids. So I'm thinking this needs to be more for
You're not putting anybody
adults.
down. It's just an
No, I mean, but like, yeah, this should be more adult entertainment stuff. And potentially, and as I'm hearing stuff, possibly like the first floor parking, second floor parking, third floor restaurants and venues. I don't think anybody should have a problem with the height of 3 levels. And the third level being, stuff that creates revenue. We need to pay for this project. And granted, there's all kinds of good ideas, but as an example, it was $1 million dog park that was gonna be here. I mean, and there was a lot of good stuff there, but $1 million for a dog park. Also, just as a reminder, there are plans in place that have that walkthrough underneath the bridge. And there was also, I do believe, they were making a way that you could access 150th coming down further to the west, putting a light in where the 2 condos are and crossing there and have everybody being able to cross there. I do believe that was kind of approved because it was far enough away from the bridge, because you have to have a certain amount of area before you could have a light. But a lot of that stuff was already in place. So let's go back and relook at those things.
So thinking about, not to cut you off, but thinking about it now with the Beachmaker being built, it's supposed to have a walk over across Gulf Boulevard. So you could actually go from Archibald Park and the beach all the way to the new property without even crossing a major roadway.
Yes, yes. And so, and once again, first of all, I think we need to look at something generating revenue. We've got to pay for this beast. It's a great idea, great property, and let's make it full advantage. But like I say, I think at this point, let's kind of try to get more something for adults. Because right across the street here, we have Rock Park, Remember Our Children. And there's a splash pad, there's all kinds of facilities here that people don't really realize. So, thank you.
Thank you.
David Teglerini, resident on First Street East, lived here, owned and lived here for about 30 years. I thought I had all these great ideas, but I've already heard most of you say my ideas, so I'm just gonna confirm. The first thing that I thought of was that, what I called the Bay Walk from our new property under the bridge. You could walk all the way from there, all the way to Archibald Beach, and I think that would be wonderful. It reminds me of Riverwalk in downtown Tampa. Riverwalk also has a unique situation where they have armature work, which I don't know that I feel how strongly I feel about that, but they also have back off a restaurant called Ulele, which is very nice, but it still allows for lots of community space, because the first thing I'm interested in is green and community space. I actually would like to see a children's playground there, so that people have a couple of places to go. I would like to see a dog park, maybe replace our dog park or have another one. I'd love to see a dog park out there. Maybe dedicated space, doesn't have to be $1 million. Dedicated space for a food truck if we're not gonna have a restaurant, so that we would have food trucks for special events, right? So we have our community space, green space, but we also have the opportunity for food trucks. I'd like randomly picnic tables, Adirondack chairs. It could be parking, I think, is important, and I'd love to keep our eyes out to see if that property in between the marina and what we just bought goes on sale, because that would give us a perfect opportunity for more of the stuff that we need. Great place for a fireworks location, although we have a great place for fireworks, but we could also see it from both spaces, maybe. Excuse me. I know we have that amphitheater, and it's used a lot. Maybe a smaller amphitheater to bring on community performing arts venues, like we have lots of community orchestras, community bands, small children's orchestras, band. That would be an opportunity for them to perform over on that side. Maybe many people know me. I am a musician, so I think about these things, opportunities for other performances, not just the ones we have. You know, the event concerts. Expand the marina with rental boat slip opportunities. Really make that a big deal for us. So those are my ideas. Thank you.
Oh, so far the property in between the new purchase and the marina, it's kind of Coconut Telegraph. I know I've heard it too, that it was going up for sale. I haven't seen anything on the property with a for sale sign though.
Yeah, I
Maybe
think
it's
there is now.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I think there is now.
Is there?
I think, yeah.
Because I know there was some on the property we just purchased, but yeah, I haven't seen anything. No. Yeah. And yeah, it's not online yet.
Okay.
Krabby would have a pretty good pulse on that as well.
Yeah, unless they put it up yesterday, possibly, but it was not for sale as of earlier this week. It's kind of a complicated piece of property, the way it's going with, it's kind of got two owners. So it's got a husband and a wife that aren't really seeing, you know, so that's where that goes. I'll leave that at that.
I just forgot to mention, if we go with the open space, let's please have some shaded areas if we can.
100%.
Because you go to downtown Curtis Hickson Park in downtown Tampa, there's no shade anywhere. Coachman Park, there's no shade anywhere.
Agreed.
And the last thing I forgot to mention is, somebody already mentioned it, whatever we do, we have to keep in mind the character and identity of Madeira Beach, and it should be consistent with that. Thank you.
Agreed.
Ray Kerr. I'm going to hold my comments. I'm here to listen at this point. I'll have an opportunity later.
Tom Edwards, live in District 1. I've been here for 45 years, born and raised in Pinellas County, so I've seen a lot of changes. 150th Avenue is our gateway, so I agree with having additional wet slips, so the city is seeking some revenue. I mean, we got a large piece of property that's off the tax roll, so we do have to have some income coming in. I think wet slips would do it. I wouldn't want to see any dry slips. I wouldn't want to see a big metal building go up there so it can house boats, because I think that would look ugly coming into the city. Lev Rock's restaurant's been there for years and years and got tore down, and I don't know if there was economic factors or what occurred with that. Building a restaurant, something like Salt Rock, if you look at what they have up there, that parking lot is so full, it overflows into the city parking lot there. They only have like 2 docks going out there with a few boats, and people can see the water, they can see the boats traveling up and down the canal. And we would see the same thing here, where you could lease that property out, the city would own it, you could lease it out and get some income. I like the ideals with having more park space there. I mean, you go down to St. Pete in the pier, there's so many activities going on down there. You have a couple restaurants down there already. As you walk out towards the pier, you have, you'll see people, maybe 1 or 2 people doing little musical things. They're playing guitars, they're singing. There's different activities that are going on there. You might even have some vendors down there as they're selling their wares and things like that. But I think the property has a lot of potential, and I came here really just to hear what other people had to say, and there have been some good ideas. That's all I have right now.
I like that idea, and have a nice high-end restaurant actually located in Madeira Beach.
Yeah, and as I say, you know, having a trolley going from that area back down to Johns Pass, you try and tie the 2 areas together is a good idea. People can park there one time and then go ahead and walk or travel down there that way.
I was gonna add on to what you're saying with the high-end restaurant and bringing what she said, to have like perhaps like a banquet venue that ties it all together, talk about revenue sharing and all that. And then we have the venue at Rock Park, but it's very small and not exactly built for catering. That could be kind of like a great merger for.
Yeah, and then for the trolley, we just stop at St. Pete Beach, puts up their tolls, we just say, F you, don't really take it.
Okay, well, we heard a lot of really great
Hello?
ideas. Hi. So first of all, I wanted to thank all of you for having us be able to give our inputs to this. I think when we first heard that the Public Works building was going up, there's like a hornet's nest happening. And so this always helps to at least hear everyone's ideas. And even if you take little tidbits or nuggets from it, it's at least we were able to give our input. So I do want to thank you for that. I think there's been fabulous ideas. It's already been said. My husband has a drawing. He has fabulous ideas, some of which have already been talked about. I really like the restaurant idea. I also love the whole underneath passageway because it makes total sense. I think the only thing I would want to see really there is a nice restaurant, some green space, you know, lots of palm trees, just keeping the whole feel for the city. I think some of our beautification's been lost after the hurricane. So I would really like to see some fishing happening there. And I like some of the educational ideas. And I like keeping it adults, you know, a little bit different from over here, because I do feel like we already have a lot of the things that were discussed being put over there. So I feel like you'd kind of duplicate the effort. So it's really got to be something different. And I really do like the restaurant, and it has to be revenue producing, and you know, some slips. Like if you look at Indian Rocks, there's tons of floating docks right there. My husband and I pull up, we walk into the little town, we go to restaurants. It's great. There's really not a lot of places in Madeira where you can pull up by boat and eat. I mean, you can't do it at Johns Pass. So we had, okay, yay. You would know. And then there's, you know, the place across the Krabby's on the Pass that was completely destroyed. They had tons of docks. People don't want to come up here and go, oh, but what if they don't have a slip? Then we got to turn all the way down and go back down to Tia Verde or go back up to Clearwater. So it would be nice to have a lot of slips for people to know, like if I'm going to make that trek to Madeira with my boat and go spend the day there, I'm going to be able to have a slip to pull up to. So that's just my 2 cents. And then my husband has fabulous ideas. So.
Hi. Just like Becky here, my name's Curtis. We live on Lillian. I do actually, this morning, I kind of made a little sheet. What I'd like to do is actually, if I could just go up to that board and I'll just point.
Yeah,
to it.
absolutely. That's why they're here.
Here, take your little box.
Yeah, you guys can hear me, can't you?
Well, we need you to use the mic because it's being recorded. But that mic right there, yep, there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Let's turn this here so you guys can see what I'm thinking. Okay. I don't know if everybody can see that. Can everybody see this, basically?
Yes.
Okay. What I'm thinking is, obviously the entering over here, like everybody's been saying the same really thing. I'm thinking that we would have a nice restaurant here in this corner, parking underneath it. Out here, you would have slips all the way around here. But here, all the way to about here, that would be actually rented slips. So then people can rent their boats, or not rent their boats, but rent the slips just like a regular marina. Each slip would have a gate at the entrance of that slip, because then you don't want people to just start walking towards your boat, off hours. Over here would be basically transit slips. Those would be metered. And the reason why I would say metered is because you don't want those people to pull up in their boat. They're gonna sit there all day. We want people to come in here to use the restaurant. We want them to go and leave, and metering is very simple. You can make a couple dollars here every hour or whatever. That means that we can get more people going in and out, and then they're gonna be responsible for getting their boat out. They won't stay overnight, but also if they park right here, they can walk around, they can walk, like you're saying, go underneath the bridge. Once again, the marina here, you can have a walkway that goes all the way around, have benches there. People are asking about green space. I'd put a green space in this corner, right here, so then it's a basic park. Rock Park, like everybody else says, we already have that venue, we have the music going and everything. But then people can actually come here and sit and relax, but also with all the benches here. Once again, the parking is gonna be underneath this restaurant, but then there would be parking out here. Now there would be parking in this area right here for the people that are gonna be renting out the slips right here. But like you're saying, we need some parking, but we don't wanna get to the point where it's overloaded. So that's why we have to look at how big this restaurant can actually hold, how many people. And then also you gotta think about these slips here as well. So you got the green space, you got the restaurant, and if anything, maybe on the bottom, you can maybe have a couple, well, no, because of flood. So, okay, that's it. There you go.
Boy, mine is not that detailed. Nice job.
So full transparency as well, this property is over 4.5 acres, so it might sound like there's a lot going on. We have a lot of room there, so.
Thanks. Michael Alter, new to town. I moved here from Oregon. At the last conversations with the mayor, some very intelligent people are of the mind that we do need to try and acquire that adjacent property, so there is continuity. This is a 18 million and probably more valuable piece of property, but intrinsically to the community, it is a generational piece of property, regardless of how much money it is worth. Having proper civil engineering and landscape architecture hired by our city and with input from this community so that we have a very cohesive plan to go forward that makes sense, that's not hodgepodge of potential projects is extremely important. So, going through planning like this and then having professional consulting to be on our team to go forward is extremely important. Since I've moved down here, it's become apparent that Madeira is the epicenter for the Southern Barrier Islands here. From Tierra Verde to Redington, people gravitate to Madeira. They gravitate to Madeira for events, for business. In Pinellas County, the largest inflow of tourism is not New York and Chicago, it's Orlando. People are coming, and they're not coming to Largo, they're not coming to Kenneth City, they are coming to Madeira Beach because Madeira Beach is special, Johns Pass is special. Whatever we can do with this project to help complement what we have with Johns Pass and having a cohesive plan between the jetty and between this new property so that it is one cohesive unit together. And yet, dude, I want a water park so bad. Like, I'm from Oregon. We would drive 10 hours to go to a water park. I love that. But like having something where we have a cohesive plan to help complement the businesses and the people and the events that have already made this a small epicenter, we have to look at the data and we see a massive influx of tourism continuing
We see growth coming, and it's not going to slow down. The rest of the country, especially since COVID, has figured out this little gem on the Gulf Coast, and keeping something in place to where we move forward with a large collective plan to just accept that Madeira is and going to continue to be the spot to go to. So thanks.
So to your point, the TDC stated that St. Petersburg is the #1 most visited area in Pinellas County, and Madeira Beach is #2.
Good morning. My name is Roger Frampton. You probably guessed from my accent that I wasn't born in Florida. Translations are available. My wife and I came, she would know better than me, but we came to live in Madeira Beach about 12 years ago. And about 12 months ago, we evacuated and are still waiting to get into our restored home. The contribution I would make this morning is how very favorably impressed I am with not only the ideas, but the eloquence of the people who've spoken. I am so glad that Gail decided we would spend our morning here. So I will now terminate and pass on to her.
Thank you.
Yeah, me too. I was thrilled with everyone's ideas because I was so scared that there was going to be just a discussion about how we can put up high rises and, hotel rooms and have it basically impossible for us all to share. And I think this has to be a space where, as a community, we can all share, we can all access it, we can all see the water, and we can kind of not do what has been done in the past, to sort of siphon it off to rich people who can look at the water and none of the rest of us can. I'm just really happy with the suggestions that have come out, and I think all of them I would go for. And obviously we can't do everything, but I think it's definitely going in the right way. So I'm very happy. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
This is a very interesting microphone. Just surprised no one has said that yet. All right, so I love all the ideas as well, and I don't want to belabor what has already been said so eloquently as earlier stated. But I do want to emphasize a few points. I think parking is really, 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 really badly needed. And I think whatever this property ends up being, it sounds like it's going to be a cool place, right? Green space, water parks, restaurants, whatever we decide, even if it's all slips, you need a lot of parking for that. So I would really encourage parking to be kind of the goal here. And it could still be a short garage. There's 4.6 acres, right? So there's a lot of area, even if it's 2 or 3 stories, it could be a really large garage that could house a lot of cars. You got to think about, I really love the idea about complementing Johns Pass, which is great, but also Rock Park. There's a lot of cool events here. Look at Old Salt's King of the Beach. There was no parking for that. And if you create that walkway, I think you mentioned it, Clint, I think that walkway is amazing. To be able to go to Archibald, cross that sky bridge, then walk across the town square into Cambria, and then up that walkway would be so cool with slips on the adjacent side. So I love the walkway, but we gotta have parking.
Yeah,
Parking
agreed.
for people going to the beach, parking for people going to Rock Park, parking for the trolley to Johns Pass. Johns Pass has a huge problem with parking too. If parking was a little cheaper here, then all of a sudden now we have a way for people to get to Johns Pass and have cheaper parking. So again, all that to say, people are like, well, dude, I don't want to look at a parking garage. You don't have to. Look at Johns Pass parking garage, skin it, and then you can put retail on the outside of it. You could put a museum on the outside of it. You could put a restaurant on the outside of it. You could put a restaurant on the roof of it. A rooftop restaurant banquet on top of a big bad to the bone parking garage looking out over the water. Weddings there could pay for that property a lot quicker. That would be a really amazing event space on top of a 2, 3, 4-story parking garage. The other thing is, if the green space, whatever it becomes, I would really encourage ideas like what Botanical Gardens does with the Christmas lights. That's such a huge draw. If whatever green space could be, there's so many cool kind of holiday things that could happen there. Dry slips was mentioned. We don't want to see a big metal building. Unfortunately, in today's world, you can't do metal buildings anymore. They gotta be Cat 5 rated, so it has to be a concrete structure to have dry slips. You could skin that as well too. So I don't think dry slips necessarily could be off the menu, because you could put them in the back corner, hidden from view. You could skin it with retail or restaurants, and you would never even know dry slips were there. It's just making revenue. So I think, in my opinion, you could still attach that to a parking garage. You'd have one building skinned with retails and restaurants, and it could be operational as a dry slip, dry storage as well. Dry stacks make a lot of money. The other thing is Sparkman's Wharf in Channel Side area. They've got all those shipping containers, and you could have multiple little vendors in there. And then it gives a space instead of, I mean, you could still have one kind of keynote restaurant, fancy restaurant, banquet area, but then you could give small operators, small restaurateurs a space to start with some affordable rent and give people other options. I think is pretty cool. Fishing keeps getting brought up, which I love, but just keep in mind, any fishing that's allowed is in direct conflict with rental slips. I mean, you can't fish at the marina. There's a reason why. You can't fish at most marinas with rental slips for that reason. And transient slips as well are obviously, unless they're metered, you're cutting into that profit of the property. So we just got to keep that balance in mind. Personally, no one's talked about it yet, but the main reason I'm here is the jetty conversation, right? So the jetty conversation.
Hold on, Dylan, not to cut you off. Let's finish this one, then we're gonna go on to the jetty. I promise.
Man, all
I
right.
promise. Point of order.
Hi, can you hear me okay? So my name is Christina Pascuzzi. My husband and I live on West Parsley. And so we're very, very excited about this, super excited. It's sort of lit a fire under us, especially after all we've all lost. So we looked at this from a macro and then a microeconomics perspective. From the macroeconomics, there's something called a logarithm. Excuse me. I have a little bit of a cold economics, and it's just basically saying that when you have multiple activities like John's Pass, and if this is a marina or a park, whatever, more people will come. And so we have a master plan now. I'd really like to see that whatever we build aligns with what's identified in our master plan. And when we look through it, sustainability, green space, color, education. So our takeaway from that, from a very micro economics level, was a lovely boardwalk that you've all mentioned. Along that boardwalk, ideally some pods or covered areas that people can stop and have an interactive educational experience that would play in for children. So, little solar-oriented flipping pad that tells you about the currents or tells you about the turtles and things that in this area that people can learn about. We would really like to see, this is for the next generation. My kids they're always photo flexing. So we would really like to see, if we want to attract the next generation, you've got to make everything beautiful, like great pictures. So lots of fountains or, a floating gazebo that they can take pictures off of. Some, spots that are photo oriented, that people can come here, take a photo, post it. I've been to Madeira Beach. We think, again, this is microeconomics, so very specific little things like that. I personally would like to see the lights to be solar oriented and amber for the turtles. Even though the turtles aren't going anywhere near this, it would be nice that it just projects what we stand for. I'd love to see a fountain where someone could throw some coin in. And, obviously I'm not thinking money here because it's my wish list, but then we could collect that money down the road and donate it to something, but a fountain that identifies what we've all been through. It has a dolphin and a turtle and a manatee, all the beautiful sea creatures that we get to see when we go out on our boats or we go to John's Pass. And it signifies a new beginning and a new start, and that we're resilient. Okay, so I could go on and on and on, and I have pictures so I'm going to pass it on now.
Well, thank you. We appreciate your comments. Is there any last minute comments? It should be on. No.
Well,
I missed the beginning of the presentation, obviously, but so far what I heard, I think what the gentleman over there, I missed his name, said about making it cohesive with John's Pass. I think that's what makes Madeira Beach so special, is the walkability and the shade. And I just cringe when I see stuff being built. I was like, where's the shade? I mean, it's always so easy, like to build a parking garage and to build all these big buildings to hide storage behind, as long as we have walkability and shade. You know, that makes it, I'm from Germany, and I don't want to Germanize America, so nobody needs to get scared here. But it's just the walkability aspect, you know, we have. It's like playgrounds and swings, and I think we're the only beach town where we don't have any pocket parks for kids. There's nothing for kids. We have pub crawls, and we have another pub crawl, and we have, like, I don't know, late Friday night parties, and obviously you don't see the parents that much at the meetings because we're with our kids, but there are plenty of kids in this town. Like you said, there are many kids, and it's so easy to just add a swing set somewhere with shade or some benches with shade. And I think everybody who likes to spend time outside would profit from an area. I mean, we live in Florida, right? So do we go outside during August? No, because there's no shade anywhere. And from a mommy perspective, we always seek out the playgrounds with shade, because there's, I don't know if anybody knows this wonderful playground they built next to Home Depot. Probably the most people don't. It's an absolute fantastic playground, not just like a ship where you can slide. It's like lots of activities, and it's lots of stuff to do, and it's nice because we parents or grandparents can sit there and relax, but there's no shade whatsoever. So we call it the hurricane playground. So when there's a hurricane somewhere, we actually can go because there's shade and no humidity, but there's no shade whatsoever. And I think, I don't know how many times it was mentioned, but please add some shade and awnings and benches, because that's what the community is all about, right? Getting together, and you can't. I don't know about the new, what is it, the new veterans place. You guys just opened the little
Court of Honor.
And then there's no shade, there's no bench, there's
benches, there's no shade though.
I mean, I would never walk over there with my kids. And obviously with kids, we spend the majority of the day outside. So I would love to see this being added. And maybe I need to get more parents to get involved, and that you guys see that we have a voice here too, and want to see more, like you said, for the future residents of Madeira Beach to get involved.
Absolutely, thank you. Is that it? So with Mayor Brooks, Commissioner Tagliarini, Commissioner Kerr, would you like to close us out with any feedback on, oh, I'm sorry, Tom, go ahead. Use the other mic.
We should have something on the website where people can send in ideas. I don't know if you have something available. So, you know, when we leave here, people might think, you know, I just thought of this, and they could send some additional ideas in. So if you could create something on the website where we could do that.
What we can do is we can coordinate with Kimley Horn, similar to what they did for the master plan. We got a really good turnout on those comments online, so we could do that again since there was familiarity with the community in using that.
Since the microphone's over, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm Lynn Bennett. I live on 145th, and so I see the bridge every day. And with this new plan, I'm concerned that I'm not going to be able to see the bridge from my property. And so I was wondering if there were height ceilings or restrictions on code on how high it can be.
Yes, we do have it. It's basically 3 stories. But the trick is with our code is if you do a parking level, that doesn't count against your stories, but there are height limits to that. So it will
So chances are there's going to be something at least 4 stories high.
for probably, yes, you would look at that.
All right, thank you. Anybody else?
All right, Commissioners and Mayor, if you would like to provide any last minute feedback on what you all heard today, I want to thank everybody for keeping this positive, and all these were really great ideas, and I feel like we can find a way to incorporate them.
I just want to say thank you for everyone who came out today. It is a great opportunity for the community, and I was excited to come today and listen to what all of you had in mind in addition to what we'd already received. So thank you for coming.
I maintain a email distribution list. Some of you are on it. I'm at dtaglerini@madeirabeachfl.gov. If you'd like to be on my distribution list to give me your ideas, I'd be glad to discuss them with you or send them on if you feel more comfortable. In addition, I only send out an email like once or twice a month just to update what's going on in the Board of Commissioners. And as Mayor Brooks said, thank you for showing an interest in your city. We appreciate you being here with such a positive outlook on what's going forward. Commissioner Kerr, anything? No, you don't like it.
Just wanted to thank everyone for coming out. Great ideas. I jotted a bunch of them down. Of course, you know, you start with your own, but many of them are brand new, and appreciate it. Thank you.
I think also there's another meeting on the 19th.
There is, next Wednesday. Commissioner Gavahi.
Almost forgot about you.
Just also wanted to thank everybody for joining us this morning. Wonderful, wonderful ideas. We're looking forward to acquiring a lot more ideas. In my personal opinion, this was the missing link. If you look at this piece, it sort of connects the marina, this property, and properties across the street. And if we look at the whole area, this District 4 in this area that I'm in, we can connect it all together as one piece. It is really just one piece. If you look at the whole area, you know, the park, the Rock Park, this land that we bought, Archibald Park, the walkability of it as it was brought up, I'm truly looking forward to seeing something extraordinary, not necessarily expensive, but something that can serve our public. All this land belongs to the residents of this town, and also it is open to tourism, to everybody to enjoy. So looking forward to getting many, many more ideas. And one thought I had, maybe, you know, some of the good ideas we can probably put out there for competition. Somebody that can come up with really, really good ideas, and we can use those ideas. And I'll be willing to, you know, create some sort of a group to rank those ideas and possibly give some recognition. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Oh,
On a last note, we're gonna have to think of a catchy name for this. So,
yeah, we can't keep calling it the new property.
yeah, we were talking.
And traditionally, we've all called it Leverock's property or the Holton
well,
property.
whether that holds or we have a competition.
Can't figure out a name for it.
Resident, but thank you.
All right, thank you all for those ideas on the new property. We're gonna move along right onto the jetty walkway discussion. So what what it was there was a walkway over the rocks there at the jetty. It was damaged prior to Helene. Helene went ahead and finished it off, and it was taken out. Well, speaking with Army Corps, and that's a difficult task in and of itself to get all of them in the same room. We did. They talked about ADA compliance, whether it was there and we were able to repair it, or it is how it currently sits. We were going to have to make it ADA compliant. With that is over 600 feet of railing that goes around the entire property or the walkway, and that's guesstimated to be over $500,000. So I guess the discussion is, I've been down there a few mornings, and people are fishing all over it. They're using it more than they ever have, in my opinion. And if we're gonna spend $500,000, why don't we spend a little more and do something great, or spend less since we have the new property? I mean, this is a blank canvas. So if we go from table to table again with various ideas, you know, we'll take anything into consideration. So, do y'all have a microphone?
Oh, did you have something to say?
Thank you.
I was just messing around,
appreciate
and I was gonna start with you.
It was awkward. So I think, in my opinion, the jetty, I hear what you're saying. It appears to be fishable more than ever. And to a point, from a fisherman's perspective, not having the sidewalk could to a younger fisherman's perspective, I should say, able-bodied fisherman's perspective, not having the sidewalk could be a benefit because you don't have people walking behind you. No offense, but you're fishing, someone walks up, what are you catching? What bait are you using? It can get frustrating to some people. So you don't have that. So now it's a lot more access, right, to younger fishermen. But a lot of people fished out there who were maybe not able-bodied. There was a lot of disabled folks. I know a couple guys in wheelchairs that used to go out there all the time, and now they can't. So it is a huge detriment, loss of access for folks like that. Also, on top of it, just from the perspective of people who don't fish, tourists, I mean, to me, that jetty is a continuation of the Johns Pass Boardwalk. It's a huge tourism draw. At sunset, even at sunrise, you go out there, there's always someone out there with their phones taking a video or taking a photo. It's beautiful. It's picturesque. People want to go out there. Not everybody wants to get sand all over their shoes. They'll pull in there in their cars. I see it all the time. I used to walk out there every morning and talk to the fishermen. And people would pull up, walk down the jetty, get back in their car, and sip a few cups of coffee and go off to work. You can't do that now unless you're willing to walk through the sand. The Moby mat helps, but it doesn't go all the way. And the Moby mat's not permanent, right? Not intended to be. Personally, I like the idea of putting what was there back as closely as we can. If we got to put railings in, we got to put railings in. It is what it is. But I love the idea of expanding upon it too. I mean, you look at places like, for example, Mallory Square. Every sunset, there's a big, huge gathering out there. There's performances. You could do something so similar there. And you could, I mean, it could be a huge draw. It would become a huge draw. And the city, I mean, granted, it's going to be money to put this back the way it was. And you could pay for it, I think. Having what was already talked about, a little spot for a food truck. I mean, you put a little piece of concrete. We're not talking about a big, huge development or anything. We're talking about a concrete slab that walks along the outside of it, big enough for some street performers and maybe a food truck or two. I mean, there's so many people that go out there in the spring and summer. There's not enough restaurants in Johns Pass to service all those people. I don't think anybody would be upset with a food truck spot, you know? So I think there's a ton of options and a ton of ways that we could really bring more people to that park, complement Johns Pass, and help people access the water. And so prevalently across our area, we're losing fishing access, shore-based fishing access. Madeira Beach, that's literally what I thought was called Fisherman's Park. So I think it has to have that fishing pier restored. And I mean, those signs underneath that bridge, I'm so proud of, that say no trespassing except for fishermen after sunset is so cool. And we need to get that fishing pier restored. And that's how I view it. It's a fishing pier, tourist destination, continuation of the boardwalk. It's imperative in my mind that Madeira Beach needs that back. If we want to increase it and make it even better, I'm all for it. So I think there's ways we do that, like I said, with sunset performances would be really cool. And you can make money, sunset performances with permitting.
Mallory Square type of.
Yeah, 100%.
Nice pass, Dylan. I like a lot about what Dylan's talking about there, because I walk that every single morning, and the riprap is great. People do fish off that, but there's a lot of people that are not. But I think if that were to be poured back, it could be poured back a little wider to make more room for people, because that's probably the best place in the entire planet to watch a sunset, right? It's spectacular. It's uninterrupted, and people are here for a reason. It's going to give them more reason to go and park. And if you put the business hat on, which the city needs revenue, it's going to bring more people down there to pay for parking, right? So that sort of thing. And if you really did connect it to the boardwalk and make it a natural flow, I think it just makes more sense. And then somebody brought up earlier, those iconic little places to have your picture taken with something that says, "Welcome to Madeira Beach," or some type of, yes, something that's really cool. Because this is one of those unique places on earth, right? And people come here, they love it. And I think just ways to promote it by something unique out there on that end of that point would be really cool, because that's such a landmark. Everybody knows, you see that jetty, you know you're in Madeira Beach. And then you see that beautiful bridge behind it. It's gorgeous. That's a piece of art, the Johns Pass Bridge. And then you see Dylan, all your boats behind it, and just such a unique village feel. I just think the more people can go there and enjoy it and stay there, and then maybe there's ways to monetize rent space on the boardwalk if it's wide enough and all, but I think it's really something we should take advantage of and make that an attraction spot.
With that in mind, at first I was thinking of GoFundMe, but then also I started thinking, well, how about selling a bench? Somebody can donate $500, $1,000 and have a bench in their name, and or bricks. Yeah, bricks, pavers and all that stuff. You buy a paver, and it could be, hopefully, I guess, I don't know how much that could generate, but it definitely could generate something and have some interest, that you have a piece of that walkway, $100 brick, a $50 brick with your name engraved in it. I know that's what the VFW did, and it generates some good money, and it's something to help build the project. And tourists, yes. I mean, and in terms of tourists especially. So if some of the Canadians come down and they want to have a bench named after them, or organizations.
Or they can sponsor the No Dogs on the Beach sign and have their family name under it.
Yeah, so I think, so once again, there's, and that kind of reminds me of the dog park that they were talking about, all the revenue that could be in donations and everything. And then in terms of having a evening venue, so like you go out and you look and see where your brick is. So in your kids, okay, so here, kids, we bought a brick. You have to go out and find it. So.
I'm going to take it up a level. Could we maybe partition off, because I'm assuming this is going to be cement, right? You really want cement. Could we partition it off and then pay a muralist artist? So a company could buy a section of this cement and have the artist just paint it for them and pay for each area by different companies. So, if you're AT&T, you could buy 6 feet of this. And you have an artist who designs your something coastal that's we all agree is acceptable, but general coastal in our area and beautiful, and create not just a view, but the experience of going down to that view. That will draw even more people. So that's just me putting a little bit of icing and sprinkles on top of your idea.
If you've been down to Key West, they have an area where everyone goes out there near sunset so they can see
St. Mallory Square.
green flash. We can do the same thing here, right? So you got the point out there, and this is the green flash viewing point. And so you would draw more people down there. Having a food truck or two down there is a good idea. It's something for the fishermen, it's something for the tourists to come and have a bite to eat while they enjoy the fishing or the view down there. So a lot of good ideas on there. I'll pass this along to whoever.
Any other comments on?
Just add some palm trees. That'd be great.
Just sprinkle some palm trees over there.
I just want to reiterate what some people have said as well. I'm for like the wider walkway. I think we definitely need to put a walkway back out there. The sand is beautiful but inefficient, and it's not all able-bodied or disabled friendly, even with the MobiMat. I also miss when we walk out there a lot. We walk this daily as well. People would have their chairs out sitting on the edge of the sidewalk, fishing, facing the jetty and the inlet, and people would walk behind it. And it would be really nice to have a nice wide walkway so that people can set up that space where they have enjoyed it for so many years. You see people fishing with their coolers or sitting and enjoying the view, eating their lunch, and then there's plenty of walkways still to walk behind them. I think that would be really welcome. I love the idea of connecting that more deliberately with the Johns Pass Boardwalk. I think the area under the bridge is really underutilized and could be a really beautiful connecting place, because most places you think of spending time under the bridge as a negative thing, but here it's 20 degrees cooler, there's a breeze, it's beautiful. I would like to see maybe some mural work under the bridge, because we have some issues with graffiti under there now and it's like half painted. It'd be really beautiful to see something purposeful and beautiful in that space that's welcoming. And I love the idea of perhaps installing some permanent benches. under the bridge, along the walkways. Those could be funded out. I love the idea of the bricks. I think all of that's just incredibly beautiful green space and community driven. Yeah.
And then with the railings, if we need them, I don't know if we can put in like fishing pole holders for people on the outside, so that way it keeps it.
Yeah, to keep people from trying to climb over it and onto the jetty or what
Correct,
have you.
yeah.
That's public safety is my background, and that's
Or-
the last thing that I want.
Or if we could have I don't know what the ADA permits, but if we could have gaps so people with wheelchairs can access without having to go over the railing, whatever we can, whether that's a chain that we move, something like that.
Okay.
And also bike racks, for the love of everything, please, some bike racks. This also kind of expands on what we're talking about. This isn't like necessarily the jetty directly, but I know that they're talking about doing the dredging and they're talking about possibly removing some of the bridge fill from underneath the bridge. Is there a possibility of expanding our jetty further, or is that like not a, no, okay.
Is that
Thought I'd ask.
a DOT thing? Army Corps.
Army Corps,
Oh, good
okay.
luck with that one.
Okay.
Any other comments on the jetty walkway? It seems like it's a consent. Yes, Commissioner.
Was that a good catch? Yeah, thank you. Give me some credit, huh? This old guy. What I'm envisioning for this sidewalk, I personally envision it further back from the rocks to keep it cost effective, and you won't have to spend $1 million. You won't have to put any handrails, but you can have a couple of spurs going to those rocks for Dylan's concern for ADA. So if let's say we built an 8-foot sidewalk, maybe 15 feet, 20 feet back from the rocks, you won't have to deal with all the structural elements that you would be encountering. You won't have to put a handrail to keep the people from falling over. So that is what I am personally envisioning.
All right. Any other comments on the jetty walkway?
Just one more thing I thought about is shade. They were talking about putting palm trees out. Palm trees don't provide any shade. But if you had some of the triangular coverings that are posted on posts, whether they're providing shade there or what we're talking about at the property over here, the Holton property, would be a good use of having shade in those areas, because palm trees don't make any shade.
Have a comment. Okay. Pass it over. Ooh, there we go.
Saved your life.
All our lives.
That's pretty cool. I've never seen one of these before.
Squawk box.
Nice. So I think a few or several have already mentioned just general purpose for the property. People would like to see a marina, restaurant, and slips. I'd just like to echo that sentiment.
Oh, you missed that. You missed that topic. I'm sorry. We got to cut you off.
Oh, really?
I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding.
So it's a huge financial investment we've dove into here. So we need to get a big return back. It's a very serious investment, 18 million plus. And really, we don't need to reinvent the wheel here. There are several successful examples of high-end marina and restaurant combinations throughout the state in cities that are waterfront based. Examples would be like Fort Myers. So the full-service marina market still has more demand than supply. It is a name-your-price market, truly, with long waiting lists at marinas. That's with the caveat, if the marina has the ability to forklift 40-foot plus boats and has yacht haul-out basins and travel lifts, this would be a significant step up versus the trailer-only storage that we have now, which limits our market of marina customers. A model example that I'd suggest this group look at is MarineMax Fort Myers. It has an elevated scale seafood restaurant on property and open air 4-level boat rack storage. If people are opposed to high-end dry buildings, I know that kind of has a connotation where you've got a big boat barn and it's either just like this huge concrete box, and people might be opposed to that. And open air boat racks can kind of be a little gaudy or look kind of rough, but there are ways to make those aesthetically pleasing. And MarineMax Fort Myers is one of those examples that this group could look at. And then it also has a restaurant integrated well for the general public. So it's not just marina customers. It's not like this exclusive elite property that only, has a gate in the front and the general public can enjoy. And then this property in Madeira has the potential of attracting larger yacht slip clientele on the perimeter of the seawall. It's a great, open, brand new seawall that we put in, and you've got so much length there, you don't even come close to intruding on the waterway. So those big deep water slips, there's a lack of those in our area, anywhere from Clearwater down to Tierra Verde. And it's just the initial design is essential. So, this group, if that's the route they go, you'd have to get proper consults in to make sure that there's sufficient power there so that customers, people with 50, 60, 70-foot boats can bring their yacht in there and store it with the proper power and supply and everything. Related to operations, the city probably shouldn't be in the business of actual design and operation of the marina. There's highly regarded, experienced, full-service marina operators that can be contracted to manage it, or the city could lease the property to a marina operator and collect the high lease income. Just like anything, if it's not managed properly, it can become a massive liability, or it can be a very vibrant, successful, and profitable endeavor for the city. But just wanted to offer those thoughts because I'm in the industry, and I'm not trying to sell anything or push any particular company. There's plenty of companies out there like F3 Marinas and things like that that can turn a property like this that now the city's purchased into something really big.
I appreciate that.
And just to dovetail, we love the current too. We love Krabby. So I totally keep Krabby on. Everyone, Madeira on board too. It's probably a stupid comment, but if there's a big part and it needs more people, you know what I mean? But we love what y'all have right now. So more and bigger of that sounds amazing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I think everyone said, the restaurant, the marina, just all for that. To just the face of our beautiful city, all for it. Thanks all.
Any other comments? One more.
I'll probably walk it over because I'm going to hit someone in the face.
Tom Edwards is guarding the microphones.
Mine's really quick. Since he brought it up, and a lot of people kept on bringing it up too about the high and dry, my question is, why don't we put a high and dry at the marina right now? Because a lot of that area, we just have boats that are on the ground, why not lift them up and you can create more revenue? That's my question.
So currently where we're at, you could put one there, but the problem would be staging boats. So when people get back, you need a dock and you need space to put that. So that's our issue with that property right there. As it's designed right now, to have that space and availability, we just don't have it. Because when you put people's boat in the water, they'll call you, hey, I'm going to come down this afternoon. Well, they might not show up till 3 hours later. Their boat's just sitting on a floating dock waiting. And then when they come back, they're going to need a place to put their boat. And then it's got to go to a wash rack and things like that. So there's not a lot of space on the water end to stage the boats.
I understand what you're saying. There's ways around that because of timing and everything. I mean, you could just look at Maximum Marina, for example. I've been there, worked there, stayed there. I think there's ways around that. You could put a longer dock on there. If we're putting all this money into that piece of property, why not just add a little of that money to your property so then we can put those high and dries up there? Because having all those boats just laying around there, I mean, I look at you can make a lot of revenue on a high and dry on that marina. My 2 cents.
You could.
Just one last thing here to wrap up the conversation. The idea of bringing the sidewalk off of the jetty a little ways to save money. I've heard that tossed around a few times. I think that defeats the purpose, right? If we move it off the jetty, I mean, no offense to the idea, but it becomes a sidewalk. And I go out in spring and summer a lot, and from the water, you can see there's not any white space left. There's people everywhere. So if you put that sidewalk there, it's going to become an issue in spring and summer. You won't be able to traverse it. And then also on top of that, you have to elevate it to try to keep it sand free, right? Or doesn't become a sidewalk. It'll just be beached over quickly. And then if you elevate it, it becomes a tripping hazard. I think that creates a lot more problems than it saves money. I think it has to be over those rocks or at least abutted to those rocks. Maybe not on it. Maybe we go off of it a little bit to save money. Cool. But it has to be up against it. So that way it can be a fishing pier. It can be that access. It can be a jetty. It's got to be a jetty. And as far as the side or the fences go, you can look at what's Bay Pier. Bay Pier in Fort DeSoto, it's the newest county pier. It's all ADA accessible. And what they have to do for the ADA is every now and again, the fence, the railings get shorter. So they can roll up a wheelchair to the fence and still fish. So that's how it works with the ADA fishing access. But it's the model's there, we can do it, and I think we need to move forward.
All right. Kind of like the last topic, Mayor and Commissioners, would you like to close us out? Any feedback, any comments? I feel like we've had. Absolutely.
I think that part of our job is, although we are residents in this town, to me, our job is to listen to what residents want and take that and come up with a plan.
Absolutely. And, I'm just holding the wheel here for, until the new permanent city manager gets here. But from day one, speaking with the mayor, the commissioners, said transparency is key, but there's no need to keep a secret. Let's talk with the residents. So again, all right, I appreciate everyone coming out, and thank you, and we'll dissect this, and maybe we'll try to get some information for the next meeting on Wednesday night. We'll try to tabulate this and see where we're at with most commented aspect of the new property and Jetty Walkway. There was really just one, so I think we know what direction to go there. Yes, ma'am. No, not today. Yeah, the last commission meeting, Public Works Director Wetfer was given direction to remove the subfloor, see what's underneath there, and then have an assessment. Looking at the pilings, looking at the hurricane strapping, looking at the condition of the wood, everything like that. So we received, I don't know if did you watch the last meeting? So we received the bids. They came in as high as 400,000, as low as 222, and anywhere in between. But right now we're kind of handcuffed at the $370,000 mark, which is the FEMA 50% rule, and unfortunately we're held to that as well.
It's like 472 is the FEMA 50% spend. So that's the part that we want to be very cognizant of, because we don't want to get into this project and spend this money, have some unknown things come up that drive up the cost. So we just have to be very careful with how we move forward, and we want to make sure the structure is properly strapped to the pilings below. That's one of the weaker parts of that we would not want to be taking care of and addressing during this process.
So to add to that, yesterday I sent out two options to the bidders to come back to whatever their means of methods are, to either remove the subfloor for the inspection or to remove the sand that's underneath. So we expect those bids to come back next Friday, and then it will go to the commission meeting, the special meeting on the 25th for the decision, because the cost is probably going to be quite high.
We're walking a really fine line there between rebuild and possibly tear down and build back something better. We are walking a really fine line, but we are doing our due diligence. We're, listening, having open dialogue with the commission, getting direction, but, we're bringing it to public meetings. So no secrets here. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.